Welcome to the International Conference on Responsible Tourism and Hospitality 2021. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ling. I'm the co-chair of ICRTH 2021. The theme of the conference this year is Rebuilding Tourism for the Future Through Sustainable Development. Ladies and gentlemen, ICRTH 2021 is co-organized by the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Sarawak, Malaysia, the Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism Management, UCSI University, Sarawak Research Society, and Emerald Publishing East Asia. It is also supported by government agencies, academic, and industry institutions in the Asia-Pacific region. Ladies and gentlemen, with greatest joy, we are glad to inform that today, ICRTH 2021 has attracted 3,000 delegates from more than 90 countries participating in this professional conference, which feature 100 international speakers from 28 countries. To begin the conference gracefully, let us welcome Dr. Peter Ng, Founder and Chief Executive Officer of UCSI Group, Mr. Wan Yat Singh, Regional Manager from Emerald Publishing East Asia, and Associate Professor Dr. Hiram Ting, Chair of ICRTH 2021 for their welcoming remarks.
Yang Berhormat Datuk Haji Abdul Karim Rahman Hamzah, Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture Sarawak. Yang Berhormat Datuk Sebastian Ting Chiu Yu, Assistant Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture Sarawak. Mr. Hee Jeng Kee, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture Sarawak. Madam Rizky Handayani Mustafa, Deputy Minister, Tourism, Product and Events, Ministry of Tourism, Creative Economy, Indonesia. His Excellency Mr. Tong Ratasak, Director General, Tourism Development and International Cooperation, Ministry of Tourism, Cambodia. Dr. Amar Abdul Kabar, Senior Director, Domestic and Events Division, Tourism, Malaysia. Mr. Harry Wang, Director, Regional Department for Asia and the Pacific, World Tourism Organization, UNWTO. Madam Muvinda Kaur Sadhu, Pro-Vice Chancellor, UCSI University Sarawak Campus. Associate Professor Dr. Hiram Ting and Assistant Professor Dr. Leong Ki Ling, Conference Chairs. The scientific and working committees of the conference, distinguished speakers from 28 countries, delegates from around the world. Good morning and welcome to the International Conference on Responsible Tourism and Hospitality 2021. It is an honor to deliver the opening remarks today, and I would like to convey my sincere thanks and appreciation to all of you for making this conference a reality. Today's meeting of minds takes place under pressing circumstances. After being battled for more than a year by the pandemic, the global tourism and hospitality sector has basically suffered a very hard reset. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, more than 100.8 million jobs have been lost worldwide. Asia is the hardest continent that was hit with 63.4 million jobs lost. In Malaysia's case, we are looking at a steep decline of more than 100 billion in tourism revenue compared to 2019's high of 240.2 billion. The sector contributes 15.9% of Malaysia's GDP, 10.3% of global GDP, and it was creating 1 in 4 new jobs around the world before the pandemic. The need to rebuild this crucial sector cannot be emphasized more. And this 2-day conference serves as an invaluable avenue for us to do our part. Jointly organized by Sarawak's Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, UCSI University's Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism Management, the Sarawak Research Society and Emerald Publishing. We have brought together more than 80 international speakers from global bodies like the UNWTO, UNESCO, and PATA. Government agencies, leading business organizations, tourism associations, as well as universities and think tanks from more than 28 nations. My heartiest congratulations to the organizers. With so many great minds and practitioners in attendance, I have no doubt that all of you will come up with new insights and sustainable strategies to restore the sector when the pandemic is finally put to rest. Ladies and gentlemen, while the seismic shock to the global tourism sector is most unfortunate, it presents us with opportunities to address some hard realities. For starters, were we really doing tourism right? Don't get me wrong, tourism was an ever-dependable catalyst of revenue generation and job creation. But while it brought home the cash, were we doing it sustainably? How responsible were we? Were our actions guided by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or were the SDGs an afterthought? Does tourism really benefit host communities across the board? We answer these questions and more over the next 2 days. I'm personally heartened to note that responsible tourism is a key focus area of this conference. As a frequent traveler myself, I have witnessed many things that make me uncomfortable. Things like orphanage tourism, where affluent tourists spend time interacting with orphans in nations that are less well off. Now, there is nothing wrong with being nice to an orphan, but there is something fundamentally wrong if those orphans are not really orphans to begin with. The same rationale applies to children who ask tourists for donations at famous temples or other exotic locations. It is not exactly proper to expose children to an endless stream of foreign visitors every day. And if those children are asked to pose as orphans or beg against their will, we are really looking at child exploitation. Delving deeper, we should place more emphasis on tourism's true impact on host communities. It is an all too common tale. A destination begins to attract tourists, and the locals are initially happy to welcome the first batches of tourists as they bring in foreign currency. But as the trickle of tourists turns into an influx, big businesses move in, prices go up, and the cost of food, water, land, and housing skyrocket. For the majority of poor locals, the dream has just morphed into a nightmare. A commitment to the SDGs is one way to address these issues. And the lure in global travel gives us the best opportunity to champion tourism in ways that leave no one behind. In light of this conference passes as the ideal platform for us to ensure far more equitable outcomes for all stakeholders. I have no doubt that the global tourism and hospitality sector will one day be restored, but more must be done to strike a better balance. Dear delegates, I hope that all of you will have a fruitful and meaningful meeting of minds. Thank you for rising up as one voice for the benefit of all.
Hello everyone and welcome. It is my great pleasure to be invited to the International Conference on Responsible Tourism and Hospitality 2021 and address a welcome note to all participants. This year is somehow special because it will be the first time the event will be run virtually online due to the current COVID-19 pandemic we are experiencing. I believe many of us are still wishing to meet face-to-face for the conference instead, but this will have to wait until the situation improves back to as much normality as possible. In the meantime, I do hope everyone will be able to benefit as much, if it's not more, for this virtual version instead. Before I proceed further, let me first introduce myself. I'm Wanyat Singh, the Regional Manager for East Asia from Emerald Publishing. We are very grateful to the organizing committee, especially Associate Professor Dr. Hiram, for the invite. And I know they've actually put in a lot of hard work putting together an excellent and really engaging program in store for us the 2 days ahead. The conference theme at Focus this year is very much in line with our current Emerald's publishing strategy, focusing on real-world impact. We want to have our research communities to see the impact of their work and achieving real change in research. This is hard and definitely a complex piece of work. The combination of outdated and prescriptive academic system makes the change even more difficult. We truly understand these challenges, and despite this difficulty, we know that real exciting change is happening through researchers across the world who are thinking differently about how they approach their work. I'm happy to see similar focus to the theme of this conference and believe many of the audiences we have today are ready and am equally excited about this change as we are. Our goal is to help our author develop their pathway to impact and help our users to make evidence-based decisions to create change. As a publisher, we are working with communities to help realize a vision of the real impact of research, co-created and reaching beyond the walls of academia, reaching what we normally see as pure academic research with practice. Delighted on noticing how this is actually being brought to life in this conference itself, having both research academicians and also the corporate and public sector practitioner under one roof. We are actually the living proof of this change, and I'm very sure we will see plenty more of this change in the near coming future. In doing this as well, we have actually collated a range of resources, future publication focus, and also aligning everything we do in line with the themes related to UN Sustainable Development Goals, namely in areas like fairer society, healthier life, responsible management, and quality education for all. We publish research that influences thinking, change policies, and also positively making a difference to lives beyond the wall of academia. We want to be a facilitator of research rather than just a publisher of articles. As a founding signatory of the UN SDG Publisher Compact, we will work with our partners like the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Sarawak, UCSI University, and also Sarawak Research Society on this journey with us to focus on impact of research and ideas aligned to the UN Sustainable Development Goals mentioned earlier. Before I end, I'm just taking this opportunity to highlight a session within the conference arranged by Emerald on day 1 during the concurrent workshop at 3:30 to 4:30 p.m., which is to share about publishing with real impact. We've actually invited our Emerald Impact Service Lead, Dr. Helen Bedell, together with our 2020 Real Impact Award winner, Professor Alexander Newman, and Assistant Professor Divine Ahadzi, to conduct the session. All of you are more than welcome to join, hearing from the speaker of their journey and effort, how they've actually achieved real impact through research and mobilizing research into action. With that, I don't really want to take more of your time, but for anyone who are interested to chat and explore in more detail, you can contact me directly after the conference. My contact details should be on the screen. I will end here now. Have an excellent day. Enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Your Excellency and all the distinguished speakers and delegates of the International Conference on Responsible Tourism and Hospitality. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. As a conference chair, it is my immense honor to welcome all of you to ICRTH 2021. We all know about the unprecedented effect of the COVID-19 pandemic on us and how it changes our world drastically. Inevitably, travel and tourism is one of the worst hit sectors. Having said that, tourism was not without flaws prior to the pandemic. It is high time that we reconsider our ways, re-strategize our plans, and revise our approaches. For us to recover from our shortcoming, to rebuild tourism better and stronger, we need nothing else and nothing less but a purposeful solidarity and a unified commitment from all of us. With the theme of rebuilding tourism for the future through sustainable development, ICRTH 2021 is our endeavor to work together with tourism stakeholders within and across the borders and achieve the objectives collectively. In hindsight, the COVID-19 pandemic has given us time to think and rethink tourism sustainability. In line with the UN WTO recommendation to restart tourism, building back tourism better in a responsible manner with trust, respect, and the will to cooperate would be critically important. Moreover, when the United Nations launched the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, where at its core are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, we know that these are an urgent call, an ongoing plea for action by all countries and individuals. Our experience has convinced us that it is only through multi-stakeholdership and multilateral collaboration can we truly realize SDGs. Tourism, together with all the travel activities and hospitality services, has been and remains as an avenue for us to achieve these goals and the priorities in our community. It goes without saying that the onus is on us as individuals to make genuine change in ourselves, our families, our organizations, and our societies. I'm really pleased to say that I see a miniature of what we could achieve collectively in ICRTH 2021. For your information, this conference was only decided in early April this year. Yet in less than 2 months, and despite late invitation to the speakers, 100 of them from 28 countries have agreed to participate in the conference, including Your Excellency from countries in Southeast Asia, esteemed officials from UNWTO, UNESCO, PATA, and some leading tourism organizations, as well as professors and researchers from universities. I wish I could name each of you here and say thank you in person. Moreover, approximately 3,000 delegates from more than 90 countries have registered for this event. I'm grateful for your support and coordination in the past weeks, be it a keynote speech, a concurrent forum, or a concurrent workshop. All these sessions are equally important. You can watch them via Zoom or live stream on the Facebook page of Responsible Tourism Management. You can also watch or rewatch the recordings because all sessions will be recorded and uploaded on the conference platform. Do visit the platform at www.responsibleborneo.com for more information. ICRTH 2021 would not be possible without the collaboration of the organizers, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, MTAC Sarawak, Faculty of Hospitality and Tourism Management, FHTM, UCSI University, Sarawak Research Society, SRS, and Emerald Publishing. In particular, I wish to express my gratitude to YB Dato Haji Abdul Karim Rahman Hamza, Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Sarawak, for his vision and leadership to champion responsible tourism in the state and the country. We need more leaders like you and more leaders out there, including the young people, to be driven by a sense of purpose and responsibility to put words into action and work with others with openness and persistence to see it through. ICRTH 2021 is also supported by 14 international institutions. I'm indebted to these institutions and the management team for their positive and immediate response to our invitation to form strategic partnership for this conference. Our partnership does not end with the closing ceremony of the conference. Instead, our current partnership marks the beginning of our continual networking and collaboration after the event for years to come. Before closing, I must extend my gratitude to my team who works tirelessly, unknown to days and nights, weekdays and weekends, to make sure that the preparation was done as planned and the conference runs smoothly. For your information, Zoom administrators, video editors, and webmaster are mainly students. They might make mistakes, but we need to provide opportunities to them and guide them in the process. They are our future. If we fall short in any areas in these 2 days, please accept my sincere apology. I hope you would join me to thank them for their hard work and contribution to this conference. Finally, let me close by wishing you all a fruitful day. While we might be physically apart, let us stay connected and focus in our collective efforts to rebuild tourism in a responsible and sustainable manner. Like all of you, I hope I could see you in person in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato' Peter, Mr. Wan, and Dr. Hiram for extending your warm welcome to all the delegates participating in this conference. Up next is the opening speech by Mr. Harry Huang, Director, Regional Department for Asia and the Pacific of the World Tourism Organization, UNWTO, and Yang Berbahagia Datuk Sebastian Ting Chiu Yu, Assistant Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Sarawak, Malaysia.
His Excellency Datuk Hamza, the Minister of Tourism, Art and Culture of Sarawak, Malaysia, esteemed guests, distinguished participants, and ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, I wish to congratulate the Ministry of Tourism, Art and Culture, Sarawak, Malaysia, for hosting this international conference on responsible tourism and hospitality. Even though I cannot attend in person due to the time difference, I would like to thank the Secretariat for inviting me to join this important conference under the theme, Rebuilding the Tourism for the Future through Sustainable Development, to address a variety of tourism issues and discuss responsibly rebuilding tourism through sustainable development and practices. Ladies and gentlemen, In a time of unprecedented crisis in the tourism sector, the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a major impact across the world regions. Global tourism suffered its worst year on record in 2020, with international arrivals dropping by 74%. Destinations worldwide welcomed 1 billion fewer international arrivals in 2020 than in the previous year due to the massive fall in demand and widespread travel restrictions. This has also caused and led to the loss of millions of jobs, generating a loss in income amounting to 11 times more than that of 29 world economic crisis. UNWTO's immediate response to the pandemic was to form a global tourism crisis committee to guide the travel and tourism sector as it to the COVID-19 crisis. And we also began to monitor the evolution of travel restriction worldwide and produce a series of reports with an in-depth analysis to enable the government to make informed decisions to support mitigation and accelerate the recovery process of the tourism sector. In addition, the UNWTO produced global guidelines to restart tourism in order to support the tourism industry to emerge stronger and more sustainable from this crisis. In line with the priority outlined in this global guideline, the development and implementation of recovery plan should be designed to contribute to the sustainable development goals. Nevertheless, as the crisis continues with destination reopening and closing across the world, the tourism sector is required to adapt quickly and respond effectively at the short notice. The crisis has raised our awareness of the role sustainability needs to play in our everyday life and economic activities. It has also emphasized the need to strengthen the resilience of tourism sector and awaken a sense of unity and interconnectedness among the tourism stakeholders. Having said that, it is more important than ever before for the tourism sector to come together and to build a sector that works for everyone, where the sustainability and innovation are a part of everything that we do. Ladies and gentlemen, our sector has to be very resilient in the face of all kinds of global crises. And because of that, we are confident that with the relevant collaboration at the international, regional, and the national level, our industry will bounce back strongly as it always has. I believe that the productive discussion during this conference will advance the contribution to rebuilding tourism and sustainable development goals, and I wish this conference a great success, and thank you very much.
Madam Rizky Handayani Mustafa, Deputy Minister, Tourism Product and Events, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, Indonesia. Mr. Hee Chang Kee, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Sarawak. His Excellency, Mr. Tong Ratasak, Director General, Tourism Development and International Cooperation, Ministry of Tourism, Cambodia. Mr. Robert P. Alabado, under Secretary Tourism Development Planning, Department of Tourism, Philippines. Datuk Dr. Amar Abdul Ghaffar, Senior Director, Domestic and Events Division, Tourism Malaysia. Mr. Harry Huang, Director, Regional Department for Asia and the Pacific, World Tourism Organization. Madam Mukvinda Kaur Sandhu, Pro Vice Chancellor, UCSI University Sarawak Campus, Chairperson, Kuching, Associate Professor Dr. Hiram Ting, and Associate Professor Dr. Leong Kui Ling, chairs International Conference on Responsible Tourism and Hospitality 2021. Scientific and Working Committee of the conference, distinguished speakers from 28 countries and various institutions, including United Nations, World Tourism Organization, UNESCO, PATA, tourism ministries, government agencies, tourism and hospitality professionals, research bodies, associations, universities, and delegates from all over the world. Welcome to Sarawak. Welcome to the International Conference on Responsible Tourism and Hospitality, in short, ICRTH 2021. It is indeed my pleasure and an honor to join you at this conference. Unlike many of the conferences that we attended in the past, today's conference is also virtual and online. And I think it is because of this mode that we could connect more than thousands of delegates from all over the world in the next 2 days. Despite having the different time zone and the challenges all of us have been facing during this period, I wish to thank you all for sparing your time and joining us. I want to applaud all of you who are here with us today. You have shown solidarity and resilience during the COVID-19 crisis. I know the announcement of a movement control order and the lockdown have affected all of us intensely. At the same time, the closure of borders in restricting movement has also adversely affected tourism and hospitality industry like never before. Being part of the larger ecosystem, we understand the intent behind these efforts and the importance of staying connected despite having to observe physical or social distancing. Thank you all for your hard work and persistence in reviving tourism and hospitality industry. I look forward for your efforts to rebuild tourism sustainably and responsibly. Tourism is not only essential to Sarawak, but to all of us wherever we are, not only because of its impact on the economic growth, but also its connection to the social and environmental well-being. Tourism is not something idle, nor is it just about leisure. Rather, it evolves all the time. The present pandemic has taught us many lessons, and thus we have the responsibility to consider and reconsider how we can regenerate and transform tourism in the present context. This is why we're here today with rebuilding tourism for the future through sustainable development as a theme of the conference. We endeavor to cooperate with you all to rebuild tourism through sustainable development and practices to recover tourism and hospitality activities and benefit all stakeholders concerned. I'd like to share with you my thoughts from two perspectives: rebuilding tourism and sustainable development. For many regions, opening the border to welcome tourists seems to be an immediate task. Being the largest state by size in Malaysia, Sarawak is no exception. Sarawak is situated on the island of Borneo and is rich with nature and heritage. For those who are not aware, the evidence of the earliest known human settlement in Sarawak and Borneo is found at near cave. This area was a major entail of human activities as early as 65,000 years ago and features one of the world's largest cave entrance, Paleolithic and Neolithic burial sites, and Iron Age cave paintings. With such richness in history and biodiversity, we have so much to offer to our visitors. However, we need to do this practically and responsibly. We cannot haphazardly open our border, nor can we develop these tourism destinations and products merely for commercial purpose, even after the crisis. We need to put in place a more robust system and procedure to ensure that opening the borders would not compromise the safety and health of the visitors, and welcoming them back would not disrupt the ecosystem and the local community. Of course, it is easy to be said and done, and the present storm does not seem to go away just yet. We have to be determined, in particular, our approach, our action, and our behavior matter a lot in ensuring the effectiveness of the policies, procedures, and guidelines to save travel. Hence, rebuilding tourism is not just one-sided affair from the government. It is something we need to do together as global citizens, and it is something we have to do in a responsible manner. None of us can rest on our laurels now. No one is safe until everyone is. Our sense of collective responsibility matters to make things work. But every cloud has a silver lining. This brings to my second thought. While the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way we operate businesses, how we carry out our routines, and even how we function as a country or a region, it nonetheless offers us opportunities to look at areas that we previously overlooked or neglected. Before the pandemic, sustainable tourism has been a key component in our tourism initiatives. In Malaysia, we have developed the National Ecotourism Plan 2016 to 2025. The roadmap was established to maximize ecotourism's potential and ensure sustainability through 19 strategies and 86 action plans. In Sarawak, we are committed to develop our tourism products, which should be sustainable to economy, social development, and environment. However, the pandemic has put a halt to almost every tourism and hospitality activities and have caused us to rethink our plan and approach. We have to re-strategize and relocate our resources. Evidently, we have to reconsider what it means to be sustainable and what sustainable development entails. Questions which we need to answer or use as our reminder include: have we been developing tourism at the expense of environmental welfare, such as issues pertaining to climate change? How do we manage revenge tourism that will negatively affect tourism experience and tourism ecosystem? How can we leverage technology to reduce our carbon footprints? And how do we rebuild tourism so that it is more inclusive and sustainable for the future? While the United Nations have spelled out sustainable development goals, how much have we done to incorporate these initiatives in our policies and businesses, as well as educate our younger generation? These are hard questions we need to answer. More importantly, they require our commitments. This highlights the importance of our responsibility to make tourism sustainable. In the light of what was just said or asked, I cannot wait to hear from our speakers and learn from each other how we can pull through together and succeed. During these 2 days, I hope you can engage yourself in deep conversations with each other and may even developing some solutions on how to address these challenges. How will the future tourism economy be depends on the way we work with each other, transform our products and services, and harness our collective wisdom to capture the next leg of growth ahead. Let me end with this quote from American writer Dale Carnegie. Most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all. Again, I'd like to welcome all of you to this conference. Apart from wishing the event a success, I hope there will be more networking and discourse on responsible tourism and sustainable development after the event. On this note, it is now my pleasure to officially declare open the International Conference on Responsible Tourism and Hospitality 2021 open. Thank you very much and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Harry and Yang Berbahagia Datuk Sebastian for the opening speech. Indeed, Datuk Sebastian, it was never before that we attend conferences virtually. However, today we are more connected than before via the virtual platform, despite the different time zone, to share our thoughts and knowledge on rebuilding tourism for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start the conference with the first keynote speech, I would like to guide you through the ICRTH 2021 platform, where you may access via the URL of www.responsibleborneo.com. When you are in the platform as shown in the screen now, you will listen to the soothing Sape music. For your information, Sape is a traditional lute-like musical instrument played by the local community in Sarawak. On the home page, at the upper right side, or when you scroll down the page, you will find the Itinerary button. Next slide, please. So you may click on the button and you will be directed to the conference itinerary lined up for these 2 days. In the itinerary, all sessions with an underline are clickable. For example, when you click on the first keynote speech, the site will direct you to the page shown in the screen now, detailing the information about that particular session. You may join the session by clicking the Join Meeting button, or alternatively, you can watch the live streams at Responsible Tourism Management Facebook page by clicking the FB live stream button. In the occasion that you miss a session, worry not. The recordings of all sessions will be made available at the session recording section after the live session has completed. And photos of each session will also be uploaded in the respective session gallery for your viewing. So, what else is on the ICRTH platform? As you can see on the screen now, first of all, you will see there will be a photo gallery where it showcases the culture, adventure, and local food of Sarawak. To know more about Sarawak, you may click on each of the photo for description and to view them in full size. Second, there is a virtual background available for download, just like the background that I'm having now. If you like the design, you are most welcome to download them for your perusal. Third, there is a link on the home page that will direct you to the certificate of attendance. When you are in the website, steps to generate the certificate of attendance are detailed for you to follow. Finally, if at any time that there is a technical issue, to join the session on Zoom, don't worry. Again, as a gentle reminder to you, you may still watch it live stream on the Facebook page of Responsible Tourism Management. There are 12 sessions available for live watching, and you may also watch and re-watching the recorded session uploaded on the conference platform. Now, while we wait for the next session to begin, let us go through a little bit on what is lining up in the afternoon session of Malaysia time, GMT +8. There will be 4 parallel sessions available for you to join. You may join whichever session that is of your choice by clicking on the Itinerary webpage. The sessions are Ecotourism and Responsible Actions, which is the Professional Forum 2. The Professional Forum 3 is Responsible Tourism and SDGs People. The Professional Forum 4 is Heritage Tourism, Preservation, Protection and Promotion. And the Professional Forum 5 is Domestic Tourism through the lens of responsible stakeholdership. While waiting for the next session to start, you may get a cup of coffee while enjoying the session or stretch yourself a little bit. Let us have a few minutes to stretch ourselves. And also to prepare snacks for yourself.